Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to today's episode of Law News and Laughter. I have no idea what the hell that glitch was, but that was nothing on me. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how the hell I do boomer this. But in the meantime, hello chat. So good to see all 33 of you watching across the YouTube channels, and I think there's 9 of you watching across on Rumble. Good to see you all here. It's been a day. Well, I mean, to be fair, I've spent the last, 8 hours asleep, so I can't really complain about that. But, let's see, what happened? We had a fairly breezy afternoon with Lady Overlaw'd and the Munchkin, and it was still pouring down at different times, so we had to play with bubbles inside and do various other things, but, you more or less just got to try and find exactly what we're going to be able to do today. So, let's get stuck into it. If you are watching and you have not commented in chat, just throw something up just so that I can say hello. I like to say hello to everybody that is watching, whether you are just going to be, lurking, or, why did I sound German when I said lurking? I have no idea. But anyway, let's see. StreamYard, being a pain in the ass, as always. Hello. Jason J. Locals notify me, not YouTube. Of course, people, as always, if you are interested in actually being here on time, I would suggest that you head over to AussieOverlaw'd.locals.com. You can sign up for free. You don't have to pay anything or anything like that. It does mean that you get the, the notifications. You still have 2 days, as far as I'm aware, changes, to use code FUNNELWEB, FUNNELWEB, to get a free month's worth of locals. Once that... oh, god damn it. Did that really freeze? Well, there's the boomer moment. Hang on. Stupid camlink. One of these days, I'm going to actually just... everything's going to work perfectly smoothly, and there won't be anything that screws with me. So, alright. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, and once that ends, I'll do up a new code word for those of you that feel the need to. If you do want to actually support over on Locals, that would be very much appreciated, because I've got to get to a certain number before I can stream beyond the half-hour mark. I haven't really done much in the last couple of weeks, because, let's face it, Christmas, but I am committing myself to doing at least one local stream a week going forward. Will be particularly easier during the holiday period because, yeah. Also, coming up the week of the 8th, there will be a couple of days there where I will be hopefully doing daytime marathons. Not full 24-hour marathons, but while I'm home, alone, by myself, I'm going to keep you guys entertained for as long as possible, so keep an eye out for that. Anyway, hello, Jason J. Good to see you. Angel Australia asking if she's on the right channel this time. Yes, you are green, so I believe so. Tina Reynolds was notified by Locals. Excellent. Tia got the notification from YouTube. Surprised. YouTube never ceases to amaze me with their incompetence. Well, it happens. Gimva got YouTube notifications of worth less than used TP. Lovely. Phoenix Fire, hello. Bad Dazzler is in their house. Double choc chip, please. The cookie. Oh yeah, feel free to hit something, don't care what, on the like and subscribe poll. Whether or not you got a cookie is entirely up to you. Bye, friends. Good to see you. Miss Chespers used to make them with my grandmother. Oh. Peanut butter cookie with the Hershey kiss in the middle for me, please. I've got to go out and buy Hershey kisses, though. See, I'm not a Hershey kiss kind of guy. Like, we had... although, apparently, like, I saw a meme on the internet that was one really, really clever way to get around anxiety if you're talking to a girl. Hey, you want a kiss? Ew, no. I meant a Hershey's kiss. Checked I was high. Excellent. Oh, for God's sakes! NVIDIA video broadcast is just stuffing around, so I'm just going to go directly to the cam link, which means you guys can see the background and the messiness and whatever else. But, it is what it is. I'll just have to be extraordinarily careful in case the little one comes in. Who didn't hit the like button? I have no idea. Who hasn't hit the like button? Who has not hit the like button on Rumble or YouTube? Almost sent this out on Twitter. Thank God I didn't. Want to try the WW2 recipe for chocolate chip cookies. Have my hesitation considering the substitutions they made. Well, see, for us, wartime cookies are always Anzac biscuits, and they have a very specific recipe that is very much protected, like to the point where for it to be an Anzac Day biscuit, or an Anzac biscuit, you have to follow the recipe that is put out by the Australian military. Like, they actually have the recipe in the freaking war memorial. And if you deviate from it, it is almost a crime. Like, anyone else found themselves randomly singing the outro during the day? I should hope so. Jukuro, are you still subscribed? I don't know. You tell me. Glitch in the Matrix? Maybe. No, it was not already boomering. He's been dicking with people for 2 days now, Hayden. Who's been dicking with people for 2 days? What? What did I miss there? Anyway, doesn't matter. Cookie Mustard. Ooh, me want cookie. Oh, nom, nom, nom. Buddha Berries, hello, how you doing? Neo Dark Matter on both YouTube and Rumble. Rocco's Life, hello. What's the punishment for wrong recipe? 20 lashes. No revocation of your Aussie card. Pulse and Thunder reckons it was them having farted. AP, good afternoon, y'all. Hello. Peace Peony, hello. Crimson Queen. Sadie, I'm seeing some new names here. Loving it. Rabbit, good to see you. How are you? Oh, I love the avatar. Paralegal Liz, hello. Just going to quickly... Captain Bipto, doing great so far. Keep it up. Bite me, Bipto. It's funny. I got rid of one ADA, converted them and changed them into something that was relatively helpful, and now Bipto comes along. Lurking in my shed, 3 more drones. 1 was a repeat, though. Oh, really? Oh, that sucks. Boomer moment in under 5 minutes. Impressive. Hey, I boomed shit all. Home Alone, Kevin. No, do we want to see you Home Alone all by yourself? Well, maybe. Notified by locals and YouTube, says Lorraine W. Excellent. Which channel should you be on? You can be on either. I'm happy for people to be on either channel. It still shows up as the number on my StreamYard screen. So that's the, I want to say the ego boost, but it's not quite right. It's a dopamine hit because I see the numbers from across all the YouTube channels. I do actually have to bring up Rumble so I can see how many people are watching over there. But either way, I'm happy for you to be on either channel. If you are watching on the Lives channel, that's perfectly fine because I do need to build up the hours over there anyway. I'm just happy that people are here watching, okay? But thank you very much for that. Chess bars are pure sugar and cream cheese, I think, with sour cream. Oh. I just hit it on the way in. Lovely. Thank you very much, Ashley. Appreciate that. Boosh, how you doing, buddy? Hey, did he show up at all? Or, like, I'm assuming not. He's probably going to wake up this morning, see my text messages and go, oh, that fucker. YouTube sends me notifications as well 80% of the time to Psycho Doll X. You changed your name and I'm still fucking it up. Sanus hit the like twice. It's still interaction. Thank you. Alright. Sing the outro so much my husband has it in his head too. I love it. Alright, quickly. If you deviate with recipes, you fail. There is do not, there is no try. Well, I mean, how else do you find actual, how do you find new recipes though, Boosh? Screw you, Ghostry. Where in New Zealand is Aussie located, north or south? Significantly west. Just happy to be here. Things that Aussie Overlaw'd's wife said on their wedding night. Oh, Chadwick, damn. I can tell the missus she said that. So you like games like Diablo, gotta make your numbers go up. Oh yeah, got it. Okay, that was clever. Okay, all right. So having said hello to everyone in the chat, things I will not be talking about today. Apparently, a car like decaled with Slim Jim stuff was stolen at some point in Los Angeles. It has now been found near Chicago. None of the wheels were attached. I may have made that bit up. The death toll from the wild storms that have battered Australia over Christmas has now risen to double digits, and a huge number of Queenslanders are still without power. That's why I'm relatively impressed that certain people are still watching the show and are still commenting on my live streams, despite the fact that they're using what little power they have to do so. I very much appreciate you guys. I really do. Canadians have apparently banned handshakes after minor league hockey games due to fights. I found that a bit surprising. And the latest target of the cancel pigs? Police dogs. Things that we will be talking about today, though. A maniac has appeared in a Moscow court after the bodies of 2 escorts were found in a hotel room. We're going to be taking a look inside the Christmas-themed sex hotel with rentable vibrators and questionable noises. Argentina's new president, Argentinian president is what I was trying to get out, has laid off 5,000 government employees. Guess he was very serious about getting rid of the ministries of culture, environment, and women. A Marine has used a 3D printer to build a 48-cent piece, which has apparently earned him a medal. Guess the budget is getting really tight. And you had me at Mexican weed nuns. We're going to have a look at that as well, too. So let's get stuck into it, people. Welcome to today's episode of Law, News, and Laughter. Must mean that there are Mexican weed priests? Quite possibly. But we're going to start off with Chinese chess champion stripped of his title after defecating in a hotel bathtub. Yan Chenglong crowned Shang Kui king, but overdid celebrations as governing body also investigates whether he cheated using anal beads. I still can't get over the fact that this is a thing. See all the spicy gamer words switch to live or all chat from top chat. Abso-friggin-lutely. So I still struggle to understand how this is a thing. Because what sort of vibrating anal beads do you need? Like, how does it, like, do you have 2 up there? Do you have 3? How does this work? How many do you need to fit into your anus in order to be told which moves to be making? The Argentinian president is getting rid of women. He's getting rid of the ministry for women. So what he basically swore to when he got into government was to reduce government glut and red tape. And he's doing that. It's just, the name translates to Amber Heard in English. No, I get that they're remote operated, some kind of Morse code. That's what I was sort of thinking. I was thinking if one bead is like for A and then 7, then you wait and it's 2, like C5 or something like that. I just, Well, I hadn't even thought of how many beads. Yeah. Well, there wasn't a Ministry of Men to start with, Ghostry. That's just it. Need to test it on a live stream. I'll be right. Nasty Chinese chess players. It's not just Chinese chess players, though. We should make this very clear. This was starting off in the actual, like, major worldwide chess tournaments. This is where the anal bead thing got caught initially. Someone was trying to play in a world championship tournament, and they got caught, I think, because they farted or something and their chair vibrated. So, Aaron Hack, YOLO, hello. President Andrew Branca, maybe. Okay, let's get into this story. The world of Chinese chess is in uproar over rumors of cheating and a bad behavior scat scandal that saw the national champion stripped of his title, I bet that wasn't all he was stripped of, on Monday after a victory celebration ended with him defecating in a hotel bathtub. Look, I'll admit, I get plastered. I've seen other people get very plastered. Never to a point of celebrating to take a shit in a bathtub. The only time that yeah, I thought you'd like that. The only time that it's even remotely okay is if someone is, like, dying from gastroenteritis or from dysentery or something like that. Something where they're literally shitting themselves to death is the only time when they should be doing anything like that in a bathtub. You cheated. Let me look in your butthole, says Amazing Disgrace. Mm-hmm. Each turn was only taking 3 minutes. Andre the Giant had his shit in the tub. Ugh. Ugh. Actually, did anyone see that video on Twitter of the guy celebrating the fact that there's water, and he's sitting there putting his hands in the water, and there's this turd just drops out of the water, and everyone's like, "Fuck was that?" He'd at least have the courtesy to waffle stomp it down. Oh, Ambic. Bad Ambic. Bad Ambic. Chinese chess has been hugely popular for hundreds of years across Asia, and a 48-year-old Yan Chenglong beat dozens of contenders last week to win the title of the king at the national tournament hosted by the Chinese Chess Association. You know, I'm on Twitter or X. Damn it! Turd in the water or Baby Ruth candy bar? No, it was very clearly a turd. Hang on. If we're gonna go down the rabbit hole, I might as well share. Because it was almost everywhere. At least across the places that I follow anyway, which says more about me, I think, than anything else. Oh my god, what is this retard doing now? Oh, damn it! There's only one person that can make me relax, that can make me relax my guard like that, and it's Jeremy Marsh, basically Jeffrey Marsh, the guy that tries to talk to kids online and all that sort of stuff. Mr. Miami says, I'm eating Aussie. Well, I'll try and avoid having you see the turd, okay? I'll try and pause before we get to the turd. Nope, that's water on fire, although that is also pretty cool. See, this is what happens when I try and do something on the fly. I can't actually see chat because I've got X open right at the second, and I can get. I kind of feel like you guys are judging me. Wait, what's that? No, never mind. Come on, it's got to be here somewhere. Where's Gingy when I need him? Turd. There it is. Oh, but that's just still. I want the full video. Ah. Water poop, maybe? Water poop? No, that's turning poop into water. Because apparently that's important now. Oh, to hell with it. Never mind. Watching on lives and chatting on original. Oh, lovely, thank you. Not against the law, that's what's important. It's not my favorite pastime, but it's real YOLO. I'm sorry, what is? What did I skip? What did I miss there? Oh, doesn't matter. Chess, a game played in your head and your ass, apparently. Yeah, pretty much. Is Jeffrey Marsh the one that looks like a comic book serial killer? A little bit, yeah. Spending lots of time to show us little shit. Yeah, I'm just gonna move on. I'm just gonna move on, okay? The joy was short-lived with the CXA on Monday announcing that Yan had lost his title and prize money had been confiscated after being caught disrupting public order and displaying extremely bad character. 3D has a whole new meaning. Yep. Now, I'll be perfectly honest. I do not believe that he should have had his winnings or his title taken here. Aside from the fact that he allegedly had anal beads in, I consider that a separate issue. Him shitting in the tub, I think, is a separate matter, and I do not believe that they should be able to take his title. Because just because he does something else does not mean that he should he should lose his accolades. It's the same thing with Margaret Court Arena. Margaret Court, amazing tennis player. Everyone sort of turned around and had a go at her when she came out as quite homophobic. Now, fair, okay? You can't take away her tennis titles for that, though. And I genuinely don't believe that he should lose his chess title for having a shit in a bathtub. Streamlabs is Aussie's new bitch, technically, worth every penny. You know, I just never really turned Streamlabs off, so... Okay. The association was also forced to address rumors circulating online that he had cheated during the competition using anal beads equipped with wireless transmitters to send and receive signals. Yan allegedly clenched and unclenched rhythmically to communicate information about the chessboard via code to a computer, which then sent back instructions on what moves to make in the form of vibrations, according to reports circulating on Weibo. Tub turd is code violation. Yeah, they haven't deemed the chess tournament homophobic yet. This is interesting. Okay, so maybe there was a single bead. Wow. So apparently I pissed a few people off. That lost me like 10 viewers. I'm just going to sit here and stare into people's souls for a second. Someone clipped the anal bead clenching part. Oh, I'm sure that's going to get clipped. He's gross, but jail is not the answer or any kind of punishment. Oh, I don't know. I think that he should still get a little bit of punishment, but how do you clench in binary? Probably Morse code. The whole short, long. So, no longer chess master, but a Chinese Kegel master. 10 viewers don't like the anal beads. What the frick is a bead? Have you never seen an anal bead, dude? Jesus, okay. Well, we're not going down that path right at the moment, okay? Based on the understanding of the situation, it is currently impossible to prove that he engaged in cheating via anal beads as speculated on social media. But he was still stripped of his title and banned from playing for a year after his celebrations went wayward. He consumed alcohol with others in his room on the night of the 17th, and he then defecated in the bathtub of the room that he was staying in on the 18th in an act that damaged hotel property, violated public order, and good morals. None of which a chess association should have any sort of ruling or, authority over. Maybe call the plumber and let him whack him over the head with a pipe wrench or something. But as far as I'm concerned, no. But, I mean, this is China. So if it's an association of some form or another, it's another branch of the government. So we know exactly what's going on there. You're pure as the driven snow. I doubt that very much. My friend used to have anal beads hanging off his rearview mirror. How much money was he deprived of? That's a damn good question, actually. The association did not disclose the amount of prize money that he was forfeiting, but the tournaments often promised winners tens of thousands of won or thousands of dollars. The CXA had published a social media post last week congratulating him and other players for their spectacularly heated high level of gameplay. See, if they'd said something like high-seated, I would have laughed my absolute ass off. Yeah, unfortunately, the actor from Parasite did unalive himself. Bet his friends did too. FOMO YOLO is the answer. I'm worried about you, Aaron Hack. So, what's that? YouTube chat was lonely. Are you in the wrong YouTube chat, Gimba? Okay. The post included a photo of Yan on stage, flanked by the two runners-up, proudly holding his prize certificate. Moving on over to Rumble. No worries. Shemuru on your family. Family. Oh, that's terrible. Shame on your family. He's now moving to San Francisco where he can crap wherever he wants. That works. Okay, where are we? A woman is suing a dentist who allegedly performed 8 crowns, 4 root canals, and 20 fillings in one visit, leaving her disfigured. Do they have any video games on their vibrator? I doubt it. Anyway, woman sues dentist who allegedly performed 8 crowns, 4 root canals, 20 fillings, and a partridge in a pear tree, leaving her disfigured. Let's see what she looks like. A Minnesota woman, are they sure it wasn't Nick, is suing her dentist, claiming he left her disfigured and in distress after performing too many procedures in one visit and falsified how much anesthesia he gave her. It is a lot of work. Maybe he was playing Flappy Bird at the same time. Using the anal beads to play Flappy Bird? Jesus, he must have... Yeah, he would be a master of Kegels then. Woman forgot to brush her teeth for 1 year. Well. Kathleen Wilson alleges in her civil suit filed on Thursday in Hennepin County District Court that Dr. Kevin Muldrum conducted 8 dental crowns, 4 root canals, 20 fillings in a 5.5-hour span in July 2020. Minnesota woman, not me. Fair enough. I bet she was disfigured before. I want to see a photo of what she looks like. I want to see how they can claim that she's disfigured. As a result, Wilson was left in pain, embarrassed, and disfigured and distressed, and had to have multiple other appointments with other dentists to fix the alleged mess, according to the affidavit obtained by the Star Tribune. Ooh, we have an affidavit. Excellent. She further claims that, look at his teeth. Holy shit, I'm worried about... I'm sorry. Which one of them's disfigured after again about... She further claims that he overused anesthesia and faked her medical records to avoid liability. Her suit, which is seeking at least $50,000 in damages, because that's what you have to say in the thing, is that you have to at least seek the statutory minimum, so it will be an amount to be proven at trial, has already received the backing of an expert Florida dentist. What the fuck's up with that smile? I have no clue. People that smile and show their guns at the same time freak me the fuck out. Yes, that is the doc. That's Kevin Moldrum right there. Has been accused of leaving patients in distress and disfigured after he performed a number of operations in just one visit. This dude could have played Ken in the Barbie movie better than Ryan Gosling. Was it Ryan Gosling? I think it was Ryan Gosling. Google Prerifit? It's a game that you control using your vag muscles. Jesus! Okay. Dr. Avram Goldstein, gonna leave that one there, acknowledged that Mulgrew was correct in his diagnosis on July 7, 2020, that virtually every tooth in her mouth had decay, but his treatment the following week was poor. Katie required a slow, thoughtful, careful, and measured response to her disease, Goldstein wrote in a November 14 report. Hang on. Wait, what? Pot calling the kettle black? How dare you for that? What am I... You talking about him or me? Ryan Gosling is a shit actor, crazy, overrated. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Vodka Blood. Tammy, yeah, hello, how you doing? Looks like he's about to pitch a timeshare. Yeah. Okay. Let's just look at what the difference in the amounts of in the treatment plans here are, though. This guy did operations on nearly every one of her teeth in one sitting. And then a doctor called Goldstein has said, no, this needs to be an elongated process that is done over many, many months and results in many, many procedures being done. Hey, g'day, Andrew. How you doing? Merry Christmas, mate. Like, this to me is a little bit of... Oh, how dare you, was for the Gosling comment. Okay. Where are we? Katie is now required a slow, thoughtful, careful, and measured response to her disease. Trying to fill every hole in every tooth in her mouth in one visit is not only the antithesis of what was indicated, it is not humanly possible to achieve in an effective or constructive manner. Well, no, that's fine. You can do that if you want, but I mean, you know, like, it sounds like really boring sex. He said Muldrum's attempt to restore all of Wilson's teeth in one visit did nothing to address her susceptibility to disease or the potential of losing her teeth. Goldstein also argued that Muldrum, who had a practice in Eden Prairie since 2004, gave Wilson too much anesthesia as he performed the operation. At least she didn't wake up with something else in her mouth. Well, we don't know that. Hey, how you doing? Hate Minnesota, but I love Minnesota. The maximum recommended dosage for a long appointment is 490 milligrams, but Muldrum allegedly nearly doubled that while seeing Wilson in July, providing her with 960 milligrams. That's a lot of laughing gas. Wow. She eventually received proper treatment for the repair and replacement of many of her restorations in an attempt to stabilize her mouth from the University of Minnesota Dental School over the course of several months in 2022. Okay, but was it the students or the teachers that were practicing on her mouth? That's what I want to know. Now he's pregnant. Jesus Christ. Oh my eye. Shit. Why didn't you just get dentures? I think she's in her like 30s or something. I think that might have cramped her style a little bit. But, okay. but if all of her teeth eventually need to be removed or replaced with implants, Goldstein said all of that work that was done and all the expense associated with it will have been for nothing. What's that? R.I.P. Casting Glock. Andrew, do you just want a link? Save you typing out pieces of gold like that. The Post has reached out to Muldrum for comment. Of course I did, because I can't take this guy seriously. Did she have meth mouth? I think I'm more concerned about his mouth. Like I said, I can't take anyone that shows gum while smiling seriously. It scares the hell out of me. Nixon, Minnesota can either be good or bad depending on the time of day. True. Okay. All right. So where is this affidavit? What's this affidavit? Patient suing Eden Prairie dentist after he performed 8 dental crowns. Oh, so they've got the affidavit, but they don't actually read the affidavit. Bastards! You killed my boss, you bastard! Swear was on a hee-haw. What? Sound like my other half. He has a visible gum hatred too. Gaston Glock did in fact pass away this morning. Oh shit! Oh no, that's terrible. Whoops. That is terrible. Okay. Looks like Hermie the Misfit Elf. Alright. You know, we'll still talk about the cancer treatment, but at some point we'll get to that. Alright. Maniac appears in Moscow court after bodies of 2 escorts, one who had been beheaded. Oh shit, I probably should have played the trigger warning. Okay, Maniac in Moscow appears in Moscow court after bodies of 2 escorts, one who has been beheaded, are found days after the cured sex serial killer was released from prison for murdering 2 other sex workers. If 9 out of 10 dentists recommend something, avoid it. Their livelihoods depend on you having bad teeth, so you wouldn't support what they've got anyway. Yeah, no, that's fair. Was not expecting that. Yep. An alleged serial sex killer has appeared in court following the discovery of bodies of 2 escorts, one of whom had been beheaded. Detained maniac Alexei Varekin, 37, is believed to have killed 2 escorts in a frenzy after he was unable to have sexual intercourse with them, driving him crazy. The beheaded remains of Olga Vorobyova, 40, were found near a hotel where they allegedly met in a Moscow district. Vladya Skitskaya, 25, is believed to have been killed a day later in her rented flat in the Moscow city business district. Not what she said when she meant she'll give him some head. The suspect had recently been released from prison after he was incarcerated in 2010 for the murder of 2 sex workers. Oh, fuck, there's a court video. You're going to hell for laughing at that? We're all going to hell for that. I'll just save your seat. Okay, there's next to no audio with this. Would that be considered the best or worst head he's ever gotten? Okay, I have no idea what they're saying. Okay, never mind. I said close, not... Wow. Okay, creepy. Live in California, hell's a step up. You can tell is Russia when you see them in aquarium in court. I don't know. The one on the left, maybe. The one on the right's a 15. Shot identified the suspect as Alexei Varekin from Tashkent, Uzbekistan, adding that Miss Vorobovia, I don't know, had taken some drugs and refused to have sex with him, so he cut off her head and ran away. Oh shit, here's trouble. G'day, Andrew.
Hey guys. Sorry
I
to
figured it was
intrude.
easier than me stopping and laughing at everything you say every 20 seconds. So, oh my god, how was your Christmas? How have you been?
It's awesome. It's crazy.
Good, glad
It's
to hear it.
crazy. Yeah, it's I'm convinced I'm living a coma dream. I'm gonna wake up in a hospital bed all wired up. And it's like, no, this is all imaginary. But no, it's great.
No,
How about yourself?
yeah, can't complain. I had one of the happiest moments of my life so far. Actually, Christmas morning, Lady Overlaw'd and I got various different presents for the little one, and they just happened to go together. So when she walked out wearing this big, puffy, flowery dress and the little locket that I got her for Christmas, it absolutely melted my heart. And it was one of the things that I live for. So I'm very thankful for that. Aside from that, went and saw the family.
Amazing moments. You remember forever.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you came in at a good time, just talking about a serial killer in Russia. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, if he's done it once, I get that he has to serve his time, but I mean, theoretically, if he was jailed in 2010, maybe he got a 25-year sentence, but that means he's either literally done it again immediately after getting out, or he never really lost the will to want to do it. So the incarceration may have been irrelevant.
Well, he's had a lot of time to think about it.
Yeah, he's had a lot of time to plan it out. It's like when I first read it, I was like, okay, he couldn't have sex with them, so he cut her head off. Okay, is this a him problem though? Did he forget to take the blue pill beforehand? Like, is he just that old? But then when I got to the point of she took drugs and refused to have sex with him. Keep in mind, people, these are hookers. A hooker got high and refused to have sex with him. On the one hand, what the fuck did she expect to happen? On the other hand, you try not to behead someone, you know?
I've been told that drug-addicted hookers aren't generally that picky.
Exactly. Not that I have any experience with that, but you kind of expect the meth heads at least to, you know? Yeah. Okay. According to Shot, Varikan wanted to de-stress after murdering Vorobovya, but was mocked by Skitskaya after he failed to perform in bed. Oh, there it is.
Just having to pronounce those names would make me want to cut a head off. How about enough of this?
He allegedly then lunged at the 25-year-old with a knife. She put up a fight and was able to injure her attacker. She was terrified and managed to call a friend during the attack to say that a client was trying to kill her. Her cries for help were also heard by neighbors. Police were called out, but when officers arrived, the woman was dead from knife wounds. There were signs of attempted beheading, the report said. So he got head from one and he tried to get head from the other, and he didn't quite make it there. He couldn't keep it up. So the Moscow prosecutor's office confirmed on Sunday that they're looking into the recent murder of two women without providing details other than that the 25-year-old sustained knife wounds during a dispute in a residence in western Moscow. Moscow. Yeah. Oh, are you serious? Well, at least they had the good decency to blur out the missing head that you can see in the mirror. Like, far out. Varikan was then seen in a court video where he was remanded in custody for 2 months. In court, he confessed to the two latest killings, according to reports. The suspect had been cured after he was sentenced in 2010 to a psychiatric hospital following the murder of two other sex workers.
So if it's a beheading, do they still cover like the whole body with a sheet, or is it like just the body with the sheet and a pillowcase with the head? I mean, do they do it differently? So it's like
that's a damn good question, you know, because you'd be trying not to freak out the paramedics either. You'd think that the cops would at least, well, you know what? No, actually, there's probably a few cops that would be standing back and just laughing.
You don't want the head just rolling off the trolley here in the middle of the street, right? That'd be awkward.
What's in the box? Dude's got a type. Absolutely, the dude's got a type. Holy cow.
You can't trust these prostitutes. Half of them just lose their minds.
Okay, I got to ask. What do you think of Argentina's new president? Do you have any thoughts on the guy?
Who? Argentina?
Okay. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, how can we tell from this distance? He's certainly entertaining, right? And the entertainment value is very high. He's apparently
Well, see, that's just
obliterating
it. I mean, for the most part,
agencies, which is
exactly, and that's what I'm loving about it. Because and this next article is about he's actually following through with what he said. So that video of him going through and ripping like the different ministries off the wall as to what he's getting rid of,
yeah.
he's followed through with it by laying off 5,000 people just after Christmas.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the reason that kind of stuff doesn't really happen in America is because the people say they want that, but the moment a politician tries to drain the swamp, they do to that politician what they're doing to Trump. You know, they don't too many people are invested in the swamp for it to go away in America. Now maybe
it's too financially viable for various people, and it's an
alcoholic or a drug addict has to hit utter rock bottom before they'll change. Maybe Argentina's hit that. And this guy has room to operate in this kind of way, but it's pretty extreme. I mean, I'm all for it. I would nuke them all. It's like, do CPR on the ones you want back. But no, it looks great. It looks like he's deregulating the airline industry down there, which has been horribly regulated. I mean, if you've ever tried to fly into there, flying in is not that bad. Flying out, the ticket price is like triple because of all the fees and regulatory. Oh, it's unbelievable. So there's so much. There's been so much swamp there that it should be a ripe opportunity to show the world what can happen if you can actually drain the swamp a little bit. So I'm all for him. Listen, for all I know, in a year we'll find out he's a pedophile or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about him personally, but as long as he's just tearing down government institutions, I'm all for him.
Exactly. Government needs to stay the hell out of people's lives. They're purely there to make sure that the roads are kept up and that certain other services go through. Aside from that, they need to stay the fuck out of everybody's lives.
Every government job and every government institution should be a 1-year contract position. And at the end of the year, it automatically expires. And you have to make the argument for why you should come back.
Exactly. Yeah, you should have to show, because it really irritates the shit out of me because our politicians here are ridiculously well paid. I mean, I know that you can say what you will about the people of Congress in America about maintaining millions and generating wealth and whatever else, but as far as I'm concerned, no state politician here is worth $350,000 a year, and it's more or less
salary.
That's his salary, and then they get travel bonuses on top of that. Once they actually leave office, they get a golden parachute for the rest of their lives as well. They can spend 4 years in Parliament and never work another day in their life. Yeah,
so we have a similar setup. The salaries are not as high here; they're probably about half of that, but they get a pension in 6 years. They're eligible for a lifelong pension for the rest of their lives. And in America, we have a lot of laws about insider trading stocks on insider information. Those laws explicitly do not apply to politicians and government. So they're free to insider trade. And of course, they're in all these committee hearings about government contracts being awarded to Lockheed Martin or whatever. And they're allowed to trade on that insider information. And that's why they all walk out millionaires.
Yeah, I did think it was funny because, I mean, I see various bits of information. I don't know how much of it's true and how much of it's just memes, but I did hear something about how ever since the Speaker of the House changed, that a certain somebody isn't making as much money as she was because all of a sudden she's not receiving certain information about certain trades, and I thought that was quite funny.
Yep, makes perfect sense.
So,
and it's just allowed. I mean, it's not hidden. They're not committing a crime. It's permitted for them to do that.
Yeah, but God forbid the rest of us should make any damn money on the stock market or anything. So, okay, all right. Argentina's new president lays off 5,000 government employees. I love that Grandma's just got the soup bowl, the soup spoon. That's great. Jutato, to answer your question, I have a second one running on the Lives channel because until I work out exactly what YouTube's doing on the back end of this main channel, I am building up the other channel. So if people want to watch over there to build up the watch hours, I'm happy to. But for the moment, it's just a backup if necessary, okay? Okay. In Buenos Aires, the administration of Argentina's new president, Javier Milei, I hope I pronounced that right, said on Tuesday that his government won't renew contracts for more than 5,000 employees hired this year before he took office. The move was part of a sweeping plan of cutbacks and devaluations announced by the right-wing libertarian since he took office on December 10 to transform Argentina's struggling economy. The contracts for other government employees who were hired prior to 2023 will be reviewed, authorities said. The 2023 cutoff is apparently meant to target the practice of outgoing presidents padding the payrolls in their final year. See, that's interesting because you would think, I mean, you sort of expect it that a politician is going to go out of their way to give golden handshakes to people that they sort of promote, nepotism, all that sort of stuff in government. I didn't realize that it was a very specific thing that they actually. Hang on, what? Afuera.
We're doing that
Thank you.
here. We're doing that here in America. So the only positive news about the Biden economy is like unemployment has gone down. It's gone down largely because we just created more government jobs. So the government is hiring people. That's a net negative job creation process, folks, because those people are paid by taxpayers, and they're not their own taxes are not paying for their jobs, obviously. So we're kind of just like we play with the inflation numbers in America. I don't know how you do it, but when inflation looks really bad, we take out the two highest costs of living. We take out food and energy out of our inflation measure, so that reduces the official inflation rate by a considerable margin. Even though, especially energy, is an inflationary input into everything because everything requires energy to transport, to manufacture, but we just take that out and just pretend that's not going up. So inflation looks better, and then when unemployment gets too high, apparently now the strategy is the government just hires a bunch of people, and so now those people have
pay
jobs.
them with people's tax
no
money. Love it.
Right. Yep.
No, so our dealing with inflation is slightly different, mainly because, so I understand that the Federal Reserve, there is actually a bunch of private banks that lend the government money. Over here, our Reserve Bank is still a government entity, so it sets the official cash rate target and that sort of thing. The private banks almost have it's probably been a good decade and a half or so since they've even remotely followed the actual cash rate target for interest rates. But basically what they do is they bump up the interest rates, cause cost of living increase on hardworking individuals, make it so that we're not spending on luxury items as one would expect. I mean, look, there are a lot of people that do borrow at low interest rates and live well beyond their means, which is never a good idea. But at the same time, we're going to see it in the next year because we had, what was it last year? I think we had 15 interest rate rises in 12 months or 12 interest rate rises in 15 months. And
so like what are mortgage primary residence interest rates? What are they like in Australia right now?
That's a damn good question. I think the last I looked was about 7 or 8%.
That's crazy. We're like 6-7% here in America, so we're not that different. But and I lived through an era in America where the mortgage interest rates were like 20% during the Jimmy Carter presidential years. But that just means you destroy the housing industry. I mean, people can't afford to buy homes. Exactly. Everyone's locked into the house they have at the low interest rate they have, and everything freezes, and you just create a massive housing crisis.
I mean, the other thing we're seeing here as well is because of the increase in production costs, materials, we had, I think I read an article last night, 2,349 construction companies went bust in the last 12 months. So not only do you have people that are locked into their current houses, you've got people that have lost thousands of dollars trying to build a new home that they're never going to recoup out of that. And it's money that's just gone.
And all the people who build the homes, put carpets in the homes, sell appliances to those homes, they all lose their shirts too.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine, Aaron. Just so you're aware, both chats from both lives show up in the back end of StreamYard. It's all linked, so don't stress. Aaron was asking whether or not you've been following the Aduila Mendez case at all in Florida.
What can I say?
Self-defense against a cop, I think.
Yeah. I'm familiar with the case. I'm just not sure what I can say. So I've been talking to defense counsel involved in that case. So I'm a little bit constrained in, but I am familiar with the case. I've been kind of playing devil's advocate for the defense, saying, this is the kind of arguments you should expect from the prosecution, and the prosecution. I know. Listen, it's horrible. It's horrible. This should not be happening. But the way the law is technically written, the prosecution has arguments to make, and they're making them, and the defense is going to have to overcome them. And the argument for the defense, you can't rely on sympathy in a court of law. That's not how you determine. I mean, you might get lucky. You might get a jury who buys into your sympathy argument, but they're going to get jury instructions, and the jury instructions don't spend a lot of time talking about sympathy. For someone who's caught in a bad situation that really, the laws never predicted. So I think there are I know what the moral and just outcome should be here, but I think the defense has real challenges, and they've I mean they're going for the death penalty here in Florida, and Florida's death penalty is the most is now. Thank you, Ron DeSantis, is now the most aggressive in the country. I mean, you don't even need a unanimous finding for death by the jury. It's 8-4 is enough. So
that blows my mind that they managed to put that through. I mean, I know DeSantis has had some like wild ideas for various things, making it so that a man's life can be ended on a 3/4 vote.
It's because of the school shooting down in Florida. It's because they had the school shooting. The guy was, the shooter was obviously guilty, but they had one juror who held out, and it's the politicians said we're not going to allow this to happen again. So they set up this majority. Listen, my biggest problem with the death penalty is not per se a moral problem. I've met people who deserve to be executed, but I just don't trust the government to make the decision. And there is no one else. I mean, you don't get to make the decision yourself. So it's going to be the government or God or whatever. But, we spend all this time talking about how the government sucks. You want them deciding whether or not you live or die? I mean, if the government in America could execute the January 6th insurrectionists, you think they wouldn't be doing that? I think they would. And so I don't want the government to have that option.
I think there'd very much be at least a few people that are inconvenient that would disappear. That's for sure. Whether it's politically motivated or whether or not someone actually has legitimately something on them, I think that if the government were in a position to, yes. I mean, I fully expect that once Assange gets on that plane, we're never going to see him again. Whether they say he's in a hole somewhere or whatever, I have my high doubts that he'll even be heard of again. But no, it annoys me when politicians jump on something like that in order to use it for their own gains, basically. And I think that's why the more I look into what happened in Port Arthur, the more that I look into what happened in Queensland last year or the year before. I mean, it is what you expect.
Were those shootings? Is that what they were?
So Port Arthur's the one that caused Australia to give up their guns
years ago, right? Okay,
yeah,
right.
96. There was one in Queensland where it was 3 sovereign citizens wound up shooting up a farming area where some cops lost their lives, as did a neighbor. By shooting standards, relatively small, but they were using that to try and tighten further gun regulations, like we don't already have some of the strongest on the planet. And it's just it frustrates me because in instances like that, you shouldn't be if he'd already been found guilty. I don't believe that it should be. I'm trying to get my thoughts in order here. The fact that one person held out should not be a reason for you to lower the standard for killing somebody. Like, if that means that one person had a moral disagreement within themselves or had a moral, ethical, religious reason for not wanting to end somebody's life, you shouldn't then make it easier for that to be removed.
Right, but of course, these are all, we're talking about human society, right? So it's all driven by humans. The average IQ of a human is 100. So, probably 99% of the people watching this stream right now have an IQ of 110, 120, 130. 100 is probably the dumbest person you've ever met in real life, and half the population's dumber than that. And they get to vote just like everybody else. And so the politicians... Learn this. If you're a politician, you're manipulating the populace to get their votes. That's your job. That's what you do for a living. And if the populace gets outraged because they had some outcome in a court of law that they didn't like, there's an opportunity for you to gain political capital by serving that populace and saying, you know what?
Exactly.
One juror out of 12 is enough for the death penalty. And that's what we... And that's why I don't trust the death penalty. It's not because I don't think there are people who deserve it. I know for a fact there are people who deserve to die. But I don't trust the people making the decision. I don't trust them because they're dummies or they're serving dummies.
No, absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with you. We haven't had the death penalty in a long time, but I fully believe that there are certain people sitting in a jail cell in this moment where if I was left in a room with them alone for 10 minutes, I would happily scrub them from the planet. Have you
done criminal defense? I don't remember what your legal practice is, but
So no, look, mine's mostly commercial litigation and property transactions, wills and estates, that sort of thing. I'm slowly edging into criminal law, but
Yeah,
I'd rather.
I would recommend against it. I wouldn't do that.
Really?
Because
Okay.
you meet the worst people in criminal law that you can imagine. There are monsters who walk amongst us. There are people who do things that are so horrible I wouldn't even talk about them on YouTube, and they do them in real life. And some of those people deserve to be executed. They're
Mm.
horrible people out there. But again, bottom line, I just don't trust the people making the decision. If I thought, I don't know, who would you find? Humans we're all sinners, right?
Hmm.
We're all frail in our own ways. We're all fundamentally, we like to think we're intellectual, but that's honestly only the last 1,000 years since the Enlightenment. We're really emotionally driven creatures. And if you were the defendant, who would you want making the decision about whether or not you're getting executed? And you could say, yeah, I
I
trust that guy.
No, look, I cannot imagine for a second sitting behind that desk knowing that there was 12 people who were going to decide whether or not I continued to breathe. I cannot imagine a single situation where I would even want to be the lawyer using the challenges to try and remove people from the jury. Because you make that one bad decision, and all of a sudden you've got 12 people pointing at you saying, yes, this person deserves to fry. Like
And
that.
of course, once they execute you, it all becomes moot, right? So we never
Yeah.
learn afterwards if it was a mistake. But I can tell you for a fact, I know tons of people who are wrongfully convicted in America, innocent people sitting in prison cells in America. And if that had
Mhm.
been the death penalty, they'd just be dead. As
Yeah.
long as they're in a prison cell and they're wrongfully convicted, it's not good, but they have
Mhm.
at least a 1% chance of appealing with some meaningful remedy for their situation. But if they're just killed, then there's nothing.
No, exactly. And I mean, I think that's probably why it's, on the one hand, again, as much as I would like for certain people to be 6 foot under, I think, for example, Kathleen Folberg, she was just recently acquitted. She had her conviction quashed after 25 years of murdering her own children. Now, it turned out that of the four of the kids, they all had genetic predispositions and they all passed away. Now, as unlikely of a scenario as that was, um, they then also, like, her husband handed over her diary because, she wrote down that she felt bad about the kids dying and various other things, and they used that as evidence against her. And she was in jail for 20 odd years. It was only because people were really really digging deep into the true crime stuff that they really looked at her case, and it took a significant amount of scientific research into, yes, these kids actually had two separate, so of the four kids, they had two separate genetic anomalies that could have led to their deaths, that there was a reasonable reason why these kids died. And it's only just in the last month or two where it's gone back to the Supreme Court and she's actually had her conviction quashed. For the murder of her four kids, if they had the death penalty, she may well have received it. Right. And to me, that's, it could have been a tragedy of even more significant proportions if it had finally come out that beyond the death of her children, especially for the husband, because he may well have been the one to put her in her grave because he testified and he gave information to the police that he genuinely thought that she had killed these four kids.
Right. So it's quite possible. I mean, let's give the benefit of the doubt that everyone was acting in good faith, right? The husband thought she did it. The prosecutor thought she did it. No one knew about these genetic abnormalities that could have caused this unusual sequence of deaths of children. Children in modern societies don't just die. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
100 years ago, of course, it happened routinely, but now it doesn't. And then you have one mother with 3 or 4 kids who all pass away as children. People are going to be looking and saying, that's not natural. Something's going on.
Something's fishy there.
Evidence of the contrary, and you don't know.
No, exactly.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. This is the hardest thing I have to press to people all the time about the law. They all believe, like, well, if a jury returns a verdict, that's like the absolute truth of what must have happened. No, it's an approximation. We don't know. Nobody knows with absolute certainty whatever happened. We were not eyewitnesses. Even eyewitnesses don't have perfect knowledge of what happened. The whole criminal justice
absolutely not.
It's about our best guess about what happened. We're never certain.
No, of course. Look, changing a slight tack there, I just want to touch on something you talked about before, was the government basically, treating voters in the way that they do it and that sort of thing. One thing that I wanted to ask is, I'm not sure if you're aware what the process is. Once somebody goes into America, so for example, the multitude of people that are marching across the border in Texas, at what point?
Yeah, no, America just died. America just died is what that means.
I'm just
It'll
curious.
take
At
10
what
years,
point do
but
they become? At what point do they become voting people? I mean, presumably
well,
illegal immigrants that.
so
Yeah.
all their children will vote because their children will be
Okay.
born in America. And
So yeah.
what we've done in the past, we meaning the people who hate America, what they've done is they've tended to concentrate these people into individual jurisdictions so that when their
Mhm.
kids do vote or they become naturalized, and the government can always say, hey, become naturalized by taking this 6-question quiz, and now you're an American citizen. I mean, they can make the rules whatever they want.
Mhm.
But once you have these collected people, we have this in Minnesota, we have this in this is where one of the what's AOC's group called the tribe of women, that group of women. Um,
No clue. I try and ignore
the,
that
the
bitch as
one
much
who
as possible.
supposedly married her brother to get him in. Blanking on her name, but they brought in a whole tens of thousands of people. They put them in one congressional district, and now they
Mhm.
have a congressman forever,
Mm.
forever. There's a lot of these immigrants being deposited in towns that have populations. I know here in Colorado, where I live, that have
Mhm.
populations of 1,000 people. Well, you dump 500 people in there, and you fundamentally and permanently change the political demographics of that community. It's
Yeah,
never going
because
to
I mean,
change.
there's no way in hell that these people marching across the border that have an open border policy because of Biden, however he's treating things, all of a sudden these people are going to feel beholden to him for being the one to allow them into the country. Now, if that means the next generation of however many thousands of people are going to be voting Democrat as opposed to, I don't know, the current population of America that are pissed off with everything that's going on, it kind of feels like, I mean, I'm quite sure
I
what
can
the
remember.
correct
I
word.
can remember how shocked I was when I forget which president I was voting for, but I realized suddenly that fully half of the American electorate voting in that presidential election, maybe it was for Clinton, second term,
Mhm.
something like that, but fully half of the people voting were not voters when Ronald Reagan was elected. He was the first president I ever voted for, was Ronald Reagan. And what it told me was my perception of American politics and what the appropriate way to vote would be is appropriate for me, but half the people voting had a very different view of that.
Right.
And now we've just imported 1 million people from Africa who have no concept of American culture or society or political norms, but we're giving them the same vote that I have to vote in these elections. What do you think is going to happen to the American political fabric? I mean, it's going to be chaos.
Of course it is. No, and that's what I've always said is that when people come to our country, I mean, they need to be making the effort to assimilate into the general culture. Because as bad as it sounds, you're not coming here to bring the worst of your culture and your country with you. You're here to experience the best of ours. But if you're not going to make the effort to, experience the what we'll call the American slash Australian dream, because they're not that dissimilar, but it's literally, if you're just going to annex it and turn it into a another state that has already been like devolved into just chaos, then why are people not making more of an effort against it? Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
So the norm of American history is 1/2 of 1% of the population controlled all the wealth. They were the kings and the earls and the dukes and the barons, and 99.5% of the population were serfs working on the land. That's been the norm
Mhm.
for all of human history until Western society, until the Enlightenment, until the last few hundred years. But that's an aberration from the norm. The norm,
Mm.
we tend to average back to the norm. And I think there are powerful people in society who would like that to be the norm again. They will remain the powerful people. They're not endangered by this. But if they
Yeah.
can degrade everything else down, they're still the top half of 1%. They still have the beach homes and the private jets and the Harvard universities and all that kind of crap. And it's just the rest of us. Suddenly we find we can't get work. Our grocery bills are $400 instead of $100. We go out to dinner to McDonald's and it's $150 for two parents and two
Mm.
kids. And so they just make everything unaffordable for everybody. And by the way, sometimes I see these red pill guys like go in the trades, learn how to build homes, You don't have to be a middle-level manager. Learn how to roof. They just brought in 1 million low-cost labor workers over our southern border. If you're a middle-aged white dude in America, you're not getting that job. You're not getting that job more than $3 an hour, which is what those guys are willing to work for. So all those kind of hard labor jobs, which in America traditionally were always remarkably highly valued because we had a population shortage in America. So labor was highly valued. In the cowboy era, cowboys could basically work 6 months a year and support themselves for the whole year because there were so few humans to do that work that they were relatively well paid for their labor. But now we're flooding the low end of the labor work, by the way, which will hurt African American communities in America worse than anybody, going to devastate them. But we're destroying that whole segment of the market for American Americans in benefit of these million people who just walked over our southern border, not from South America, by the way. There's a lot of them coming from Africa and other countries that you wonder how they crossed oceans to get to the southern border of America, but here they are. And it's going to be it's going to be chaos. And listen, there are many times when I think to myself, so I'm next year I'll be 60. How old am I going to get? 80, maybe 90, right? So I got 20 or 30 more years I got to worry about this. Then it's somebody else's problem. But if it is your problem, if you're younger than me, you better buy guns. You better learn how to use them. You better get your shit together because winter is coming.
Yeah, well, that's just it. I mean, look when you, I get it, Shadow Floss, 1 million sounds low, but I mean, if it was the equivalent of that happening here in Australia, which to be fair, the Australian government's basically doing the same thing. I mean, to a lesser extent, because this year we had somewhere between 400,000 and 600,000 people show up. Now, keep in mind that the Australian population is only 25, 26 million. So by comparison, the amounts of people coming in is just ridiculous. And it's causing the housing industry no end of strife. But I mean, from an outsider looking at America from a international perspective, with what you've just explained as well, it does look like they're bringing in a whole bunch of people to create a secondary class below, that financial line that you're saying, so that they do have the cheap labor, so that they are not to me, this is looking a hell of a lot like 1984, and it's like people don't seem to be paying attention to that.
Especially at the local level, cities like New York City, right? New York City is 15 million people by itself, the New York City metro area. New York City can just say, hey, we're fine with illegal immigrants voting in our city elections. They can do that. There's no rule against that, and they will do that because that is now the constituency of the politicians who want to run there. And so those people will be voting on the schools and the taxes and police policies and all this other kind of stuff. That's why American cities are turning into chaos. 80% of American police departments in America today can't hire cops. No one's applying. 80%. What do you think's going to happen? I listened to a 911 recording today, an hour before I came on the show, of a woman calling 911 saying the ex-boyfriend who put her in the hospital 2 weeks ago is breaking in her front door. Can they please send a deputy to take care of this? And they're like, we can't. We don't have anybody. They're like, the 911 dispatcher is saying, do you have a friend you can call?
Oh, my God.
Can you ask him to go away? And you know what happened? That guy got in and raped her.
Jesus.
And the whole time, the dispatcher from the sheriff's office is on the phone saying, there's nothing we can do. So I've always been a gun rights proponent here in America. But, man, if you live in America today, it's not getting safer, folks. It's getting a lot more violent, and the cops are getting scarcer. And if you don't have an effective means of defending yourself against people who are bigger, stronger, more violent than you, you're in a lot of trouble because those people are coming.
Damn.
Don't come to my house, though. You come to my house, you probably get shot.
Got a doorbell that reloads? Excellent. I mean, look, I'll be perfectly honest. You're painting a very bleak picture of when I get back there in August, so I may just cut the trip down a little bit, I think. All right, let's get back to this because I had 30 articles and I've gotten through 2. Okay, so I'm not even sure how much I care about this now because he's basically just wiping a whole bunch of government jobs. And if that's what's going to boost Argentina, all the more power to him. It is very good to see that we'll call him right wing. I mean, he's libertarian, right wing, whatever they want to call him. Having him actually making a difference in the country, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens. Because I think there was another one that was elected recently that's on the same sort of spectrum. I'll be interested to see exactly where that goes to. I'm pretty sure it was either, I want to say, no, not Sweden. One of the Eastern European countries, I think. Nordic, maybe. I cannot remember. Has there been anything on the lady in Texas? I saw a comment from you on a tweet about her. Which lady in Texas is this?
That might have been the 911 call I was referring to, but I don't remember where she was. But in the near term, when countries do what Argentina does, it becomes a gravity well for capital. So money just wants to go work and make more money. So if you create an environment in which people can invest and prosper from investing there, in the near term, the money just kind of automatically flows in. Because you have all these managers of these investment firms that just have to make a return for their customers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the long term, it gets more complicated because if you're too successful, then the global elites are like, oh, they're making us look bad, and so we have to do something about them. But in the near term, like Argentina, I would worry about them like as a 10-year investment prospect, but as a 1-year or 2-year investment prospect, I bet you'll make a lot of money.
Okay. Might be time to see what. I mean, do we know what? No, never mind. I can look into that later. That's fine. Okay.
I am not an investment advisor. Do not take investment advice from small town lawyers.
Okay. So one of the great exports that we have seen is that the sovereign citizen movement is making its way over here. We've had a few, as I said. So someone didn't actually know that the shooting in Queensland, which I think was either last year or the year before. It's funny how time just melds together. They actually were sovereign citizens. They'd been in contact with a very specific person in America that I want to say Louisiana, but don't quote me on that. But they actually filmed a video to this guy right before they went into the shootout with police that ultimately wound up with them being unalived. But these guys, I think, are interesting. Sovereign citizen couple fire off at police after refusing a breath test here in Melbourne. A couple in East Melbourne, which, let's be fair, it's the less desirable side of Melbourne. Don't kill me if you're bad phrasing. Don't have a go at me if you live in Frankston. They filmed their altercation with police, accusing them of working for an illegal corporate government that enforces legislation. Anyone saying legislation is just, a couple in East Melbourne have filmed their altercation with police after having their car impounded following a breath test that they refused. The police claimed the man, David, had refused to take a breath test and then requested his car keys. But Trish, his partner, who was filming the altercation, which I have no issues with, film away, accused the officers of working for an illegal corporate government and went on a tirade about the spending of taxpayer dollars. The couple argued with police as they moved to detain their car, with Trish claiming that David never physically touched anyone while questioning the legitimacy of the breath test request. During the fight, police questioned the couple's smart...
Breast test?
Was that what I said?
Participate in the breast test?
I'll get one of the female body inspector shirts. I'll bring it with me next time. Open a book and see how history repeats. Yep. They argued as they... During the fight, they queried the couple's Smart Cities sticker on their car, with the woman explaining that the Freemason government and illegal councils were planning to restrict the public's movement to 15-minute perimeters. Look, we all know what happened during the bug, okay? It annoys me that it gives legitimacy to some of these nut jobs because we've seen it. I can't deny it. It was complete utter bullshit what happened. David never hit anybody, never physically touched anyone, just refused. No, they say that he refused to do a breathalyzer. Well, yeah. I mean, if you refuse to do the breathalyzer. You don't know about the smart cities. You better look into the council website and find out about it. They gate everything off in a 15-minute perimeter and you're not allowed in or out of it. The woman's rant included claims that police were working for an illegal corporate government, and the couple threatened to sue the police for damages to their car and criticised the use of taxpayer money for the breathalyzer. Why do Australians pronounce skeletal as skeletal? I don't know, it's just how we're taught in school. Aussie's got a thing for Freemasons. Well, I mean, look, most cities, most towns will have a Freemason building of some way, shape, or form. The woman also questioned the authority behind the law to require...
Here in America too.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
She questioned the authority behind the law requiring the breath test, and the officer explained that it's Victorian law. Victoria, who? The state of Victoria. Are you saying the government, the illegal... Oh, doesn't she just look like a peach? Okay. Did they actually wind up in a shootout, though? They physically moved him off the road, leave him alone. You're standing on property. Get off of it. Don't touch me. Da da da. Oh, I thought they said there was a shootout. Oh, fire. Okay, my bad. They just got mouthy. That's annoying. It's actually really annoying.
Well, in America here, you can refuse to do the breathalyzer. You're allowed to do that. But if you do, the state reserves the option to just automatically suspend your license. So you're not convicted of a crime of DWI, but they can suspend your license automatically for, I don't know, 60 days, 90 days. Larry, the DUI guy, would know better than me. But they can't compel you to take just a roadside DUI test. So you can say no. And they'll
no,
take
same thing here.
If
it's a roadside breath test, same thing here. If it's a roadside breath test, you can absolutely refuse to it. If they genuinely suspect that you have committed the crime, though, they can detain you to take you to the police station for further analysis. That's like if you have to get blood work done, or if it's they've got a slightly more specialized machine or whatever.
Machine. Yeah,
basically, yeah. But no, you can absolutely refuse to take a breath test. But it will almost always, if they. You wind down the window and they immediately say, oh, got the smell of alcohol on you. I mean, you'd know better than most what you do and don't say to a cop when they pull you over. 9 times out of 10, it's more trouble than it's worth to refuse the breath test here, because 9 times out of 10, you're going down to the cop shop in a paddy wagon. So it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's like, ooh, do we want to talk about the Brazilian woman hacking off her husband's penis?
Oh, must we?
I meant to talk about it yesterday. I think I can probably leave it for another day, but it'll be interesting. Where are we? Bondi Car Park Act. Don't really care about that. So, Andrew, you have children. How would you feel if one of them was going around calling you by your first name?
That wouldn't happen.
No, that's sort of what I thought. Because it's turned into a big thing here because Chris Hemsworth, the actor that plays Thor, basically he sparked a bunch of outrage because he posted a video online about their trip, and they caught the sailfish and all that sort of stuff. People freaked the hell out because his son's walking around calling him Chris instead of Dad.
How old is the son?
12.
No, that wouldn't happen to my house. I mean, but I have a very not necessarily kind of culturally conservative home. I'm the father. I make all the money. I pay for everything. All this is possible because of what I do, and and I expect and demand not a lot, but simple respect.
Exactly.
Should I drive people crazy? Should I say subordination? Subordination in the technical sense. I know people lose their minds when you say that, but we all subordinate ourselves, right? If you have a boss, you subordinate yourself to your boss. I mean, you get on an aircraft and you're subordinating yourself to the pilot. This is just normal. But when it comes to personal relationships, people lose their minds. It's like, what am I, a slave now? No, you're not a slave.
Look, to be honest, I mean, I'm 33 in like 15 days. I'm 32. If I walked up to my old man and called him by his first name, I would fully expect him to clock me one. Like it's about respect. It's about how you have been raised as a kid, that sort of thing. What really annoyed me about this article was the comments saying, "Oh, it's an Australian thing. We do that here." No, we fucking don't. Okay, you respect your parents. As Hayden's ADA, I call him Daddy all the time. Jesus Christ, Stingy, just keep it in your pants, buddy. So they went to this whole thing, caught the fish, and then. P.S. If you're wondering why my son calls me Chris, it's because I'm his BFF and true mates don't call each other Dad.
Well, whatever. Listen, I don't care what other people choose to do, and especially when you're super wealthy, you have options for living your life that normal people don't have. But for me personally, my kids are not calling me by my first name. That's just not happening.
No. Um, this person here, it's an Aussie thing, I guess many of us do it. Well, disrespecting you by calling your father by your name at that age, I've always heard Chris call his father dad. Oh, well, there you go. No, as far as I'm concerned, parents shouldn't be BFFs.
I have to make hard decisions for my kids. I've got 2 kids
Exactly.
who are adults. I have to make hard decisions for them. I mean, they're not quite fully independent yet. I have to
Mhm,
make hard calls for them. I mean, I could just give them money when they ask for
mhm.
it, or sometimes I have to say no. No, I have to say go look for a job harder. Go do it harder. And it's always a difficult balance for a parent because, of course, your instinct is to protect and preserve your kids from all harm the world can offer them. But once your kids are approaching or in adulthood, a part of your job is to train them and prepare them for the fact that life sucks. Life is hard. You got to work. It's very difficult and
Exactly.
it's
I
not
mean,
fair.
I can't remember who said it, but as a dad, you've got one role to keep your daughter off the pole, which is fully accurate. But I mean, look, I've got a 5-year-old
And you
now at
don't
the
you don't
moment.
do that. You don't do that if you're her BFF. Her BFF is telling
Exactly.
her, "Hey, look at all the money you can make on OnlyFans. Look at all the money you could do in this and that. It's only for a while. You just, But the dad has to be like, no, that's a bad decision.
Hmm.
There's going to be consequences with me if you make that choice. You can still make it. I mean, if you're an adult, you can still make it.
Hmm.
Not if you're 12. But if you're an adult, do whatever you want. But if you make that call,
That's on
we
you.
have a problem. We have a
Yeah.
problem. And I mean, I had my oldest daughter come to me a while back and she's like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna marry my boyfriend. And I'm like, hmm. So I have no problems with the boyfriend. He's not a bad dude or anything, but he's not very productive. He's not
Right.
like he's not making much money. He works, but he's not making much money. And I'm like, and I'm paying at the time, I'm paying half my daughter's rent to
Oh,
live in a
damn.
luxury Denver apartment.
Oh,
And so she says, I want to marry him. We're going to go to Maine and get married. I'm like, okay. Can he afford a wife? And she's like, what do you mean? I said, well, you either have a husband supporting you or you have a father supporting you, but you don't
not
get both.
both. Exactly.
Right.
I mean,
So
more to
they
the point,
forced the
how
marriage.
did you feel that it was your daughter that came to you rather than him asking for permission? I mean, with the whole traditional sort of thing.
I got to be honest. I don't know. I'm pretty intimidating. I'm told. So,
Fair enough.
but
I mean, look, to cut a long story short, Lady Overlord and I had been dating for about a week before I knew, and like it was the weirdest conversation that I ever had. Going to her father a week after we start dating and say, "Hey, how would you feel if I married your daughter?" And he's just like, "Well, do you love her?" Yeah, I think I do. Okay, well, you're fine then. Like, I mean, to me, even if things had fizzled out, it was better to have the permission at that point because. But I mean, I knew it's what 15 years later, so.
well, I
Um,
will say, if the guy had asked me for permission, I would have said no.
mhm. Well, there you go.
I would have said no. I don't approve of this marriage. I don't think this is what's in the best interest of my daughter.
Mhm. Okay. Um, shit, I've completely lost my train of thought as to where I was going to go with that. But oh no, that's what I was saying. My daughter at the moment, she's going through this phase where she expects her mother and I to be her best friends, rather than the guiding hand to show her right and wrong and that sort of thing. And I mean, the other day she called me by her first name, and I had to pull her up, and I say, "No, I am Dad. This is. But anyway,
Hmm.
um,
Sure. Well, kids are always they don't know what to do, right? They're
yeah,
just they're being conditioned. They don't know all the rules yet, and sometimes they're
no,
testing the boundaries a little bit, and that's all fine. And kids should do that. And then you give them that cold, hard dad stare, and you say, "We're
mhm.
not doing this."
Yeah, no, I mean, look, it's just making sure that they grow up to know right and wrong. Really, is my main thing. I mean, I've always said that if my daughter or even my younger siblings, if they do anything stupid, I'd rather A, that it either be under my own roof so that I can keep an eye on them, or B, that it can be 2 a.m. They can be plastered off their face. If my daughter calls me and says, "Dad, I'm in a tough spot. Can you come and get me?" I will always go, no questions asked. I won't get mad. I won't do whatever else because I'd rather she come home safe. I don't want to
Yeah,
have
but
a
that's
relationship
not
with her where she's
so
afraid
that.
of me.
But I got so. How old are your kids? Roughly, you don't have
Uh,
to be specific.
just the 5-year-old at the moment.
Okay, all right. So it changes because, of course, when they're children, your priority is
Hmm.
just keeping them safe, right? So you make
Yep.
any sacrifice to do that, right? I mean, what wouldn't you do? You'd jump in front of a bullet to keep them safe. when they get to be adults or close to adults, and they're starting to make the same kind of shitty decisions I made when I was starting to become an adult. We all do that, right? But now your job, you can't tell them what to do anymore because legally they're adults. But you can you have resources. Often, at least in my demographic, kids still want access to the resources, so you can kind of guide them that way. But when they're making poor choices in lifestyle or mates or job prospects or what they're doing in college, you can try to influence them by saying, you can do that. I'm not going to stop you. I can't stop you. You're an adult. You can do whatever you want. But I'm not providing resources to support that decision. And hope that shocks them just enough that they revert back to a responsible decision making.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Where are we? Oh, Brian with a member chat. Member for 2 months. Called my dad at 18 years old to have him help me through my first hangover. Dads are essential allies and role models. Well, there you go, Brian. Brian, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm surprised your dad was still there at 18, but that's a private joke, people. I wasn't actually being racist. I said no to ask of Pam, but asked for a few things that would change my mind. They married anyway. She won't speak to me for over 10 years now. Oh, shit, Shani, that sucks. I showed my kids Sean's "Don't Talk to the Cops" rant for educational purposes. Oh, that's terrible. Funny, but terrible. All right. Okay, so apparently the cancel pigs are coming after police dogs now. Now, as far as I'm aware, this is in Canada, but at the same time, it's like, okay. Apparently, police canines are grossly disproportionately used against people of color, inflict gruesome lifelong injuries, and often attack people who have committed minor crimes. I wanted to play the controversial opinions on this, but screw it. I'm just going to get straight into it. Wait, how old is this? July 2021? Why was this recent news? Oh, screw that. I'm not going through that if it's old. Meh. Never mind. We'll talk about the crocodile washing. Crocodiles are getting their year-end scrub at the zoo in central Japan. It is bath day for the crocodiles at the Botanical Garden in central Japan. Zookeepers on Tuesday gave the reptiles their annual end-of-year scrubbing. It's not a small task. Oh, are you right there? You're just that eager. Not a small task, with the tropical and alligator garden in Higishi Uzu town keeping 100 crocodiles and alligators of 15 different breeds. The keepers began their work in a section that is the home to the larger species, such as the Siamese crocodile and the American alligator, which can grow over 3 meters long. Visitors watch the workers scrub the heads, backs, and tails of the reptiles. That's got to be a weird-ass kink for you to have to do that, though. To sit there and watch them scrub, 100 crocodiles. That's... Visitors watch them scrub the heads, backs, and tails of the reptiles to remove a year's worth of caked-on moss and mud. A boy who was looking on said the crocodiles were docile and charming. So jump in and have a swim with them. Go for it.
The crocodiles are charming. Have you seen crocodiles or alligators in real life, like out in the wild?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. No, I lived in Darwin for a few years, so seeing them seeing the nice big saltwater crocodiles baking on the sand or in the mangroves as we were fishing. Yeah, those things are scary as shit.
If you ever see them take prey, they're not. They are vicious dinosaur-like creatures. They spend 99% of their lives moving in slow motion, but when they want to move quick, they explode.
They move quick.
They take birds.
I think the most amazing one that I watched was my dad and I were actually out fishing in Darwin Harbour, and a larger croc took a smaller one. And when I say a larger croc, I mean probably a 3 meter. And when I say a smaller one, I'm talking 2.5 meters. It was not like it was like Godzilla versus smaller Godzilla. And watching the death roll over and over again and watching them just fight it out, I have no idea what they did to piss each other off, but it's still one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen. And there was by the time they were done, because they went at it for a good half hour. By the time they were actually done, there was probably 3 or 4 other boats. We were all just sitting there just watching. It was just incredible. What is your problem? Sorry, I've got my dog. What's wrong? What, are you upset because Doggo Cam's not on, or do you need to go out? What do you want? All But yeah, no, honestly, it's just incredible. All right, let's test Aussie to see if you can tell the difference between alligators and crocodiles. Oh, bite me. Have you covered how Rockstar put an autistic child in prison for life? I'm sorry, they did what now? Ayo, if you've got a link, send it to me and I'll have a look. But where are we? That's the Christmas Gunman. Don't really care about that. Jump in opium exports. Where is the? Hang on, There it is. Okay. Florida teen allegedly shoots and kills his sister after a fight over Christmas gifts. How do you resolve this? Guy gets a present, doesn't like it, shoots his sister. He is promptly then shot by his brother.
I was hoping you weren't going to get to this story because one of the people involved.
Oh, you want me to move on?
His name is Darkus.
Oh no, is it really?
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Do you want me to move on? I've got plenty of other news stories.
Fine. Okay. I don't care. I don't care.
Okay. Florida teen allegedly shoots and kills sister after fight with Christmas gifts. A 14-year-old boy allegedly fatally shot his older sister in Florida after a family argument over Christmas presents, officials said on Tuesday. The teen had been out shopping on Christmas Eve with Arabelle Baldwin, his 23-year-old sister, as well as his mother, 15-year-old brother, and sisters, Pinellas County Sheriff Bob Guialatieri said during a news conference. The teenage brothers got into an argument about who was getting more Christmas presents. They had this family spat about who was going to get what and what money was being spent on who, and they were having this big thing on in the story, said. The boys continued to argue at their grandmother's house in Largo, a city about a half-hour's drive from Tampa. They'd gone there so the grandmother could babysit Baldwin's baby boy and her 6-year-old son while Baldwin was at work. Do I need to make the obligatory joke about a gun being fired by Baldwin?
No kidding. I actually thought it was an Alec Baldwin story when I first saw it, but then I was like, no, he doesn't shoot 40s. He only shoots 45.
More killer Baldwins. Yep. Once inside, the 14-year-old boy allegedly pulled a semi-automatic handgun, pointed it at his brother, and told him he was going to shoot him in the head. The older teen said he didn't want to fight and told his brother to get out of the house. One of their uncles separated the teen, got the 14-year-old outside where Baldwin was with her baby. Oh, no. You all need to leave this stuff alone.
She was holding the baby in her arms when she got shot through the lungs. Yeah, baby was fine, though.
Okay. Small miracles. Okay. Christmas miracle, if however small. You'll need to leave this stuff alone. Why are you trying to start it? It's Christmas. The 14-year-old boy called his sister several derogatory words and told her he was going to shoot her and her baby. He allegedly shot her in the chest at around 1:45 p.m. The baby was in a carrier and not injured. The 15-year-old came outside with his own semi-automatic handgun, allegedly shot the younger teen in the stomach. He then ran throwing the gun into a nearby yard. The teen was taken into custody at a relative's home. Baldwin was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. The bullet traveled through her left arm into her chest, popping both of her lungs. She suffered internal bleeding and was unable to breathe. The wounded 14-year-old underwent surgery and is now in a stable condition and is likely handcuffed to his bed. He's been charged with first-degree murder, child abuse, and a delinquent in possession of a firearm.
And 8-4 vote for the death penalty. This is Florida, so that's what he's looking at.
The state, and you know what? As bad as it sounds, I can see at least 8 people siding against him because you've got the aggravating factor of the fact that she was holding the baby at the time. It's Christmas time, and he's just randomly pulled out a weapon. Also, you notice how in this particular news article, I mean, you mentioned it, but they haven't. They haven't really raised ethnicity at all in this. Like, you can draw connotations from the fact that both the 14 and the 15-year-old had semi-automatics.
So I've seen photographs, mugshot photographs of the suspect. So it's exactly the ethnicity you would expect it to be.
Gotcha. No, look, I was just pointing out, mainstream media. As much as Yahoo News considers itself to be mainstream media, I think it's interesting that they left that out for the narrative.
No, in America, the cliche is that if the photos are not in the news story, you know who it is.
Gotcha. All right. The state attorney's office will review the case and decide whether or not he will be charged as an adult. if he is old enough to pull a semi-automatic and shoot his 23-year-old sister, I feel like he's beyond the age of innocence on that one. I think he can be charged as an adult. What would you think?
Well, I think most states probably wouldn't, but this county, because they mentioned the sheriff, I know who the sheriff is in that county. They're going to charge him as an adult. I'd be shocked if they didn't.
Okay. His brother has been charged with attempted first-degree murder and tampering with physical evidence. Both teens have prior arrest for car burglaries. Lovely. These young kids, 14 and 15-year-olds, routinely carry firearms, and this is what happens when you get young delinquents that carry guns, the officer said, just because I can't pronounce his name again. They get upset, they don't know how to handle stuff, and they end up shooting each other. We got any... I'm curious as to whether or not there's any comments on this. Doesn't look like
someone in the
but...
comments is asking, does the sheriff decide or the district attorney decide what the charge is? So the sheriff decides what the charge is on arrest, but the DA, the prosecutor, decides what the charge is to go to trial. But in this part of Florida, they're all kind of politically in the same hot tub, so you're not going to see a lot of variance between the sheriff and the DA. They're being elected by the same community.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. So, yeah, you'd fully expect them to be towing the same line.
This is not a George Soros prosecutor.
All right, where are we? That was the Hemsworth thing. We're not going to talk about the severed penis, which is fine.
I mean, you can. I got to refill my glass anyway. So if you can do it in 10 seconds, that would be the time.
It'd probably take longer than that, but that's... Oh, actually, maybe not. Okay. All right. Brazilian woman hacks off husband's penis for allegedly sleeping with their 15-year-old niece. A Brazilian woman has been charged with attempted murder for hacking off her husband's penis after he allegedly slept with a 15-year-old niece. The unidentified woman allegedly lured her husband, 39, into bed, where she bound his wrists and ankles before pulling out a razor and dismembering him. After severing his package, she allegedly took a photo of it and flushed it down the toilet. The woman went to the police station in Atibaia with her brother and turned herself in on December 22. Good evening, officer. I came to introduce myself because I just cut off my husband's penis, she said. She told the police that she heard it was possible to reattach it. Well, I kind of think that if you flush it down the toilet, you may have lost that. Actually, speaking of that, that might be the thing that pops out of the pipe on that video on YouTube. Sorry, on Twitter. She told police that she heard it was possible to reattach it. Her husband was taken to hospital and his condition is unknown. Police are investigating her claims that he was sleeping with a minor. The age of consent in Brazil is 14. Ugh. That goes on to about an Indonesian woman, so that's fine. Look at that. I actually managed to cover it.
There you go. Perfect. So what's going on? What was happening? Penis is getting cut off right and left.
It was alleged that he slept with her 15-year-old niece, despite the age of consent being 14, as reprehensible as that is.
Right. But who said that?
Yeah.
The cutter said that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So, all right, where are we? Family Christmas gunman who died after being stabbed. Covers it. GoFundMe. Oh.
All the stabbings and shootings. I always tell my wife, don't worry, honey, we're in a growth industry. People just keep stabbing and shooting each other. We'll always have work.
How many severed limbs could be reattached? Like 1 in 500? It's a good point, Abomination. It's, look, and the fact that she like dumped it down the toilet, there's no way in hell that's getting reattached. Even if you say, oh yeah, I heard that it could be, you know full well that it's not going to be reattached because it's going to have bacteria in it. It's going to have water damage, and once there's water damage, nothing's ever the same once there's water damage. I mean, look at books, for God's sakes. Aussie needs an ad blocker. I'm happy with actually, I think I've got an ad blocker, but I had to turn it off for some reason. Anyway, man busted in dress holding burglar tools. Tool is not sold at the local hardware store. A man wearing a dress and carrying a dildo allegedly tried to burglarize a Florida residence of a 69-year-old woman, according to police, who also charged the suspect with stalking. I swear to God I hadn't pre-read this. Investigators say Marshall Jones, 40, showed up outside the victim's St. Petersburg residence last Friday at around 1:30 a.m. He was spotted on video trying to open the door. At the time, according to the arrest affidavit, Jones was wearing a dress and had what appeared to be an erect penis in his hand at waist level. After trying to enter the home, Jones is then seen pressing the dildo against the doorway before walking away.
It wasn't an erect penis at head level, like it hadn't been severed by the Brazilian woman.
Well, I mean, once it's severed, I think it's kind of difficult to get it to be erect unless you use a shit ton of like hairspray. So, That's a bad attempt at truncating a joke, people. We know this.
But he looks so normal.
Oh, I know, right? There's no way in hell that drugs were anyway involved in this. Was it the previous man's penis? No, not so much Coke Fairy. Also, hello, Coke Fairy. How are you? He allegedly came back to the property yesterday afternoon, but subsequently fled on foot. When police later busted him, he reportedly copped to the attempted burglary on December 15. I kind of feel like admitting to a burglary when... Dude, talk to your lawyer, for fuck's sake. Attempted burglary on December 15 and returning on Tuesday to the home in the city's historic Rosa Park neighborhood. During questioning, the cops report he said he was holding a dildo, which had slipped out when he was recorded by surveillance cameras last week. It's unclear when the sex toy slipped out. Okay, so there's a good chance that it's Taylor Business made it possible. That's fair, Jason. I will give you that. But that was a very, very specific circumstance. Whether this was actually a dildo or not remains to be seen, because he's saying it just slipped out. So, claims he's outside the home. Yes. You don't always get a good outcome. True. He was outside the home to check on a female occupant since he claimed to have seen someone shoot at the residence 2 weeks earlier. There's no record of any purported shooting. He also uses the surname Blair and was arrested for attempted burglary, a felony, and stalking and resisting an officer without violence, both misdemeanors. He was locked up in lieu of a $10,150 bond. Court records show that he lives in St. Petersburg. He was arrested earlier this year after a homeowner told police that he and another man were casing his residence. Does this look like the face of a man that would case a residence? Come on.
So when I was a kid, I'm old enough that when I was a kid, we still used to do the nuclear war things. When you were in elementary school, they tell you to hide under your desk from a nuclear bomb. You know, huddle under the desk, the schoolroom desk, and then they would quiz us on whether or not we learned the training for dealing with nuclear apocalypse correctly. And one of the questions was always, "What do you do in case of fallout?" And the standard elementary school answer was, "Put it back in and take shorter strokes."
That's terrible. Hilarious, but terrible. Okay. People were just crazy these days. Yeah. Yes, duck and cover if you can. Like, I don't know. The way that people are just like doing this sort of shit. The one I was going to ask you about is, I don't know if you've seen it, the legally blind guy that was arrested by 2 police officers, and he basically he had a walking cane, and one of the police officers stated that she was detaining him because she believed that his walking cane was a weapon because it was sitting in his back pocket. Yeah. She alleged that it was a handgun. He then proceeds to be asked whether or not he's actually legally blind, and the cop then also does him for resisting arrest, despite the fact that their own body camera shows he was standing there staring at the sky. Like, I don't know, that one to me, it seemed pretty damn clear cut. She got like a 3-day suspension. It was. Listen,
the police get a lot of bad press these days, and for not good reason, for political reasons. But bad cops exist, folks. They exist. We have a lot of cops in America, and some percentage of them are going to be. In most American police departments, they're not very well paid. You're not getting the Richard Feynmans of the law enforcement world to work in most police departments. And some of those people are not going to be great, not going to be high quality. They're going to have the occasional bad day. That doesn't excuse their behavior. If they act poorly, they should be held accountable for that. But yeah, it's going to happen. You should always be very skeptical about these claims, because in America, at least, there's a lot of money to be made if you can convince people that a cop's acted poorly. So a lot of the claims are false. But not all the claims are false. I mean, cops aren't angels. Some of them act poorly, and those cops need to be held accountable.
No, fair enough. All right, and what I'm going to do, guys, is we'll finish. Where are we? Hour 45. Actually, I've got a couple. I'm not sure how long you wanted to hang around, so I just don't want to be going through a whole bunch of stuff that's just going to annoy you. But we still got to talk about the Mexican weed nuns. Forgot about that. Mexican weed nuns want to. Yeah, basically. Apparently, they're trying to take back the plantations from the narcos. Beneath each full moon on the outskirts of a village in central Mexico, a group of women in nun habits circle around a roaring fire, cleanse themselves with burning sage, and give thanks to the moon, animals, and the plants. That doesn't quite sound like the same sort of nun that I'm expecting. Okay. Then they deeply inhale from a joint and blow clouds of marijuana into the flames. Despite their clothing, the women are not Catholic or any other religion. Yeah, okay, called it. They are part of an international group founded in 2014 called the Sisters of the Valley, who have pledged to spread the gospel of the healing powers of pot. In the United States, where around 24 states have legalized recreational marijuana, the group has also launched a successful small business selling CBD tinctures, oils, and salves online and raking in around $500,000 a year. But in Mexico, where the drug...
You just can't put women in charge of anything and expect a good outcome. That's a formula for failure. Hey, MLS. I see MLS in the chat here.
Right. But in Mexico, where the drug war has ravaged the country and Christianity has embedded in society, the image of a marijuana smoking nun is more of an act of rebellion, the women say. The sisters frequently post on social media, primarily Instagram, where they can be seen caring for the crops, giving workshops, and attending cannabis-related events. Their product sales are a fraction of that of their US sisters, around $10,000 annually. Well, prominent online. Sorry?
They're bad at it. They're bad. They're bad. They're bad businesswomen.
Well, prominent online, the women, 5 in total, are cautious about giving away too much about the location of their operation. They conduct business out of a 2-story concrete false storefront with 1 finished room. Because cannabis sits in a legal grey area in Mexico, much of its production is still tied to criminal organizations. They worry police or local gangsters could arrive to threaten or extort them. On a recent weekend when Reuters visited, the curtains remained drawn, bundles of marijuana dried in clandestine crevices, hanging from a tucked-away laundry line or hidden in a stove. The sisterhood is in a totally different context here in Mexico because of how religious the country is, and because the plant's ties to the cartels, said one of the nuns, who used the moniker Sister Bernadette. Oh, no. And asked not to give her name for fear of reprisal. In her main job as a homeopathic practitioner. Okay, so we can narrow it down. She's a homeopathic practitioner somewhere in Mexico, and she goes by Sister Bernadette. I think
Where's
they may
the
still be able to find
astrology
her.
chart? There has to be an astrology chart here someplace. Where are the crystals?
She prescribes pot to her patients with cancer, joint pain, and insomnia. We want to take the plant back from the narcos, she said. The sisters fashion themselves as a lay religious movement, the Beguines, that dates back to the Middle Ages. The group is made up of single women devoting itself to spirituality, scholarship, and charity, but took no formal vows. The sisters globally say they wear habits to project uniformity and respect for the plant, but is it made of hemp?
By the way, I noticed not one photo of the sisters.
Oh, no, of course not.
Where are the sisters? You know they're all 55-year-old divorced women. No eggs. Geez. They should just show an empty egg carton is what they should be showing.
Oh, no. Under the guidance of Alahi Paz, a chemist and marijuana researcher working with the group, the sisters in Mexico grow a modest crop. They pot plants in old paint buckets and place them in rows between unfinished concrete walls on a rooftop. Oh, my God. Participation is limited to weekends where they can steal away from their lives. Oh, my God. What? In a roughly 75% Catholic majority conservative country locked in a drug war with criminal groups for nearly 20 years, joining the sisters has created tensions in nearly all of the women's lives. Its founder in Mexico, who calls herself Sister Camila online and declined to give her name, grew up in an evangelical household and left home at 16, due in part due to her mother's strict religious code. When she started the Sisters of the Valley, Mexico, the relationship became even more strained. Oh, so she told her mother about that. That's a very safe choice right there.
The mother's strict religious code was probably "Don't be a whore." That's probably it. She's like, no, I must realize my greatest life. I must be a whore. Women.
Get lit, Bernice. Oh, because Bernice was smoking. Fair enough, Bernice. How you doing? About to go out and smoke a cigarette, then I'm coming in and smoking my weed pen. It helps my anxiety. More power to you. If it works for you, it works for you. It was hard for her to accept. She has certain ideas and is heavily shaped by religion. But today, after lengthy discussions about the plant and the legalization movement, her mother is pivotal in the group's operations, helping to maintain the farm and offering other logistical support.
They got mommy high.
Because I got high. Because I got high.
Mommy got the shotgun. Yeah. All right.
All right. I want to finish on this one because I think this is an interesting discussion about, what constitutes masculinity and that sort of thing. And I'd love your opinion on this one. Brawny billionaires pumped up politicians. Why powerful men are challenging each other to fights. Oh, I don't know. Maybe because they've gotten balance sheets to the point where zeros are just a figure on a piece of paper. And they feel the need to show their faux masculinity by beating the shit out of each other. Or
are
in
they
the
actually
case of
fighting? They're not fighting.
No, that's just it.
There's no fight.
It's all done online because it's every time Musk has challenged Zuckerberg to something, Zuckerberg's had a reason to disappear off the face of the planet. His lizard overlords are not happy with him getting beaten by Musk. Let's put it that way.
And listen, Musk, guys. So I don't hold myself as some kind of warrior, but I do martial arts 5 times a week. I get beat up 5 times a week by people way more skilled than me. I fight 5 times a week, 5 hours a week, and these guys can't even face each other once in a completely controlled environment where they're not going to get seriously injured. Why? Mm-hmm. Why is that? Is this all a charade?
No, exactly. As far as I'm concerned, it's all purely just for promotional purposes. So, all right. The first rule of Insecure Masculinity Fight Club, tell everybody about it, and I mean everyone. Tweet about it, talk to reporters, shout it from the rooftops, make sure the entire world knows that you are a big boy who could beat just about anyone in a fist fight. Look, do I think I could land a punch on Zuckerberg myself? Probably not, but with that his lizard physique, he's pretty quick, so... 2023. What the? Why would you spell it out rather than just write the numbers? 2023, as I'm sure you will have observed, was the year that tech CEOs stepped away from the screens and decided to get physical. No, we heard a whole bunch of accusations, or we heard court cases against each other, or we heard them about promoting potential fights. Okay, at no point have I been.
I thought I saw some video of Zuckerberg actually in a jiu-jitsu match. So he might have actually...
he was training. He can throw hands. But at some point, you've also got to feel that, like... I know a lot of people are putting Musk as the underdog against Zuckerberg.
Who's going to maim... No one's going to maim a billionaire, right? That's like a bad life decision. It's like you're going to lose gracefully.
Or, as Zuckerberg has shown, just never get in the ring. Elon Musk's perennially thirsty for attention and was at the center of an embarrassing development. Oh, okay, so this is a nice little hit piece. The 52-year-old who challenged Vladimir Putin to single combat in 2022 spent much of the year teasing the idea that he was going head-to-head with Zuckerberg in a cage fight. At one point, he suggested the fight could be held in the Colosseum in Rome. Don't worry, you didn't miss it. The fight never happened and will never ever happen for the simple reason that Musk would get destroyed by Zuckerberg. Who wrote this? Hang on. Now I'm curious. Awa Madawi. I'm assuming that was outsourced from Zuckerberg himself. Zuckerberg, who's been obsessively training in mixed martial arts and won a bunch of medals in a Brazilian jiu-jitsu tournament. The only way Musk will actually follow through with the cage match is if he manages to get his hands on some kind of brain implant technology that magically transforms him into a mean, lean fighting machine. Or it's not as if he's developing that. I mean, we covered a story yesterday about a Playboy model that wants to be the first one to have it put in so she can be a hybrid. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, if you can't trust a Playboy model, who can you trust?
I know, right? Well, I mean, look,
Elon Musk would have a chance against Zuckerberg, but he'd need to put in like 2 years, probably 2 years of dedicated 3-4 times a week training. He's bigger than Zuckerberg. If he had the same level of training, he'd be competitive. But
it's true.
I see Elon Musk with a little bit of a paunch, and I'm like, he doesn't look like he's training that much.
Brandon O'Neill saying he's already done training. Well, let's see them actually get in the ring then, because I want to see this.
Maybe Elon just sends in one of the robots. Like, robot army, and defend me.
Oh, God, that'd be funny. Indeed, I wouldn't be surprised if Neuralink, Musk's brain chip startup, was working on that brief right now. Nor would I. Although seeing the company is under federal investigation for killing 1,500 animals in testing, many of which died extremely gruesome deaths, it may be a while before we see such technology come to fruition. Okay. This is just a massive hit piece. That's what this is. I mean, we looked at the Neuralink stuff yesterday. They're already just about ready for human trials. So saying that technology is never coming to fruition is bullshit because we know completely the opposite. Musk and Zuck aren't the only tech execs looking to get physical. Vin Diesel-level biceps have become the latest billionaire status symbol. Look at Jeff Bezos. His muscles have increased at about the same rate as his bank account.
Well, that's all T. That's all testosterone.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame him for. I don't blame him for that. I gotta say, I've been thinking about testosterone myself. It's I have a good friend, some good friends of mine who are like in their 50s. I'm almost 60, but they're like, dude, everyone should do it. Everyone should do it. It's only upside. So
Okay.
I'm like, I don't know. I might look into it.
No,
I
fair
will
enough.
say I've worked out most of my life, and when I work out today at 59, I don't build. The muscle just doesn't build. It just doesn't. When I was 18 and I lifted weights for 2 weeks, my arms got huge. They just pumped up like they were inflated. And at 59, it just doesn't do that anymore.
No, fair enough.
Oh, someone says, Brad says, be like Crowder, get the juice. Did Crowder get the juice? I might get the juice. I'm thinking about it. I'm not going to make a secret out of it. I'll be completely transparent. But yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Sure wasn't saying saline injections. No one needs to see a man taking saline injections. We talked about this, okay? Zuck is data in disguise. Maybe. Also not just an upside like everyone else. Plenty of trade-offs. True. All right. The Airbnb CEO, Brian Chesky, has also been working on getting swole. Back in June, he told Bloomberg writer Dave Lee that he'd challenge any leader in tech to a bench press. I've been waiting for these physical battles in tech. It's just so funny. At what point did it become a thing for the nerds to have to flex their muscles, though? Like, this to me is funny. Right after, my ass is gone right back
weird.
in the gym.
You would think the money would make up for any other shortfalls, right? At some point when you're a billionaire, you have so much money, it's like the height and the strength and the genital size shouldn't matter anymore, right? It's just so much money. It should make up for everything. But apparently,
I guess it's just the personality, really, because if at some point it no longer feeds your ego to the point where you just wake up and it's, figures on a bank statement or whatever, then I can kind of see it not having.
Right. After the first billion, the second billion probably doesn't matter that much, right? Like, how different is it really?
Exactly. So, look, in a weird way, I can understand this. I think there's probably better ways to do it than, trying to beat the shit out of each other. Like, I don't know, go play target shooting. Go do something that doesn't require you to look like a dick, basically. Where are we? It's not just tech bros. Politicians are at it too. Over the summer, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. posted a video of himself doing push-ups while shirtless with the caption, "Getting in shape for my debates with President Biden." Dude, you could sit there and lift a toothpick and you'd be fine. Like, seriously.
President Biden is doing his push-ups, laying on his back and pushing his hands up into the air.
Like a turtle. Love it.
Like a turtle.
Which may or may not have prompted Biden once challenging an Iowa voter and Donald Trump to a push-up contest. Does he even understand what that would entail? I don't know how good Kevin McCarthy is at push-ups, but he certainly found it fond of shoving. In November, the former speaker bumped into a Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee and reportedly elbowed him in the back. Burchett then chased after him, calling him a jerk and a chicken. McCarthy, it seems, was angry that Burchett had helped oust him from the speakership in October, making him the first speaker in US history to have been removed by his own side. That is a completely unrelated dig. Yeah, and be a coward about it, but that's a completely unrelated dig. How the hell did... Justin Trudeau did a boxing match with a Conservative senator. Trudeau was much taller and won easily, but the optics was Trudeau beating the F out of a Native American. That's terrible.
Oh,
no. Just a few hours after the altercation, Markwayne Mullin, a Republican senator from Oklahoma, challenged Sean O'Brien, president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, to a physical confrontation during a Senate committee. Yeah, but are these legitimately saying, okay, I want to get into a cage ring and, fight you? Or is this just in the heat of the moment, someone saying, I want to take you out the back?
Let's settle it right now. Yeah, that's not...
Exactly.
No.
Like
wanna fight
bravado
it,
at a bar sort of
right.
thing. Like, yeah.
No,
Mullen, a former
get into a ring, and if you want to do that, I don't recommend it, but if you want to do that, get in a ring with a ref and just slug it out. Sure, why not?
Yeah, well, it's an easy way to try and sort things out, that's for sure. Former businessman who regularly boasts about his prowess as an MMA fighter was miffed that O'Brien had called him a greedy CEO and a clown on X. He decided to settle his private grievance during a public hearing, and the two agreed to have a fight right then and there, yelling at each other to stand your butt up and get started. Eventually, Bernie Sanders got them to calm down.
Is anything dumber than two guys just yelling "F you, F you, F you, F you" at each other? I mean, why bother?
No.
I mean,
that's why I hate seeing Twitter fights.
Or not.
It's why I hate seeing Twitter fights, because it's always what it devolves into. It's never like it might start off with a coherent, well thought out argument between two people, and then 10 comments later, it's just fuck you, no, fuck you, fuck you. It's like, for God's sakes.
We should. I think the rule should be after the third "fuck you" exchange, you have to like actually dick fight. Like dicks have to come out, and you got to fence each other. I bet that would clamp down a lot. It would never happen, of course. It would clamp down a lot of this estrogenic hysteria. These guys, I don't know, they need some tea.
Just for a moment, pause and imagine acting like this in your own job. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that if I challenged a colleague to a fight and started yelling at them to sit their butt down in the middle of a public meeting, I'd face some sort of consequences. I don't know. I think, I mean, unless they lodged a complaint with HR, I don't think any of my employees would have an issue with it. Exactly, that's exactly it. Fuck you, your mother, something about Nazis.
Right.
In the Mullins case, the meltdown doesn't seem to have had any impact on his career. It may have even increased his popularity amongst his base. Politicians routinely seem to be held to a lower standard than the rest of us. That's because we expect them to be at a lower standard than the rest of us. We know that going in. No one's squeaky clean. No one is the Atticus Finch going into politics. Let's face it.
They're at the level of their electorate and the people voting for them. That's the only level they need. And half the population's below 100 IQ, folks. So
exactly. If you ignore the fact that we're being ruled by people with enormous egos and no self-restraint, then there is an amusing element to all of this. But more than anything, it's just pathetic, isn't it? All these grown men so clearly worried about their masculinity that they feel the need to puff out their chests and show everyone just how strong they are. Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, let's keep in mind that the chick that it's written this is, in my opinion, a raging feminist at times. So I kind of expected this sort of slant to it, but I was more curious as to who was supposedly fighting who. The 1%'s desperate shows of bravado are part of a broader insecurity about masculinity in the West that plenty of snake oil salesmen and opportunists. Oh, hang on. How long do we reckon it's going to be before we get to Andrew Tate? Okay, not in these paragraphs. In 2022, for example, the right-wing commentator Tucker Carlson came out with a documentary called The End of Men that argues that testosterone counts are plummeting and that real men are an endangered species. The documentary was full of bizarre ways to counteract this, including testicle tanning. I'm sorry, what now? I'm not sure how many tech bros and politicians are regularly exposing their balls to red light therapy, but there does seem to be some widespread preoccupation with bromeopathic ways to increase testosterone. Testosterone blood test tea parties are apparently a growing trend amongst the tech types. Mind you, have you seen that guy that's trying to body hack and he gets his own son to donate blood to him every other day? That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. He's doing everything he can to reverse the aging process.
I feel like we're circling back to the death penalty argument. I think his son should just kill him and just Zeus said this had to be done.
Do whatever you like in private, I say, tan your testicles, go to tea parties, organize push-up contests. Just don't foist your masculine insecurities on the rest of us. Stop challenging each other for public fights. If you don't like it, don't look. It's not that hard to turn the screen off, to go and watch something else on TV. Testicular tanning does increase testosterone. No shit.
Should focus on getting physically fit, going to the gym. Don't become a fat ass. Watch out for all this sugar and fat-rich food we have that's so easy for us to access. Go to the fucking gym, stay in shape, and focus on making money. Make money. Making money solves a lot of fucking problems in life. Make
Mhm.
money. If you make enough money, I was going to use the B word. If you make enough money, the ladies will come. They will come.
What Andrew was going to say was, make money, get bitches.
Mm.
Not that I'm putting words in your mouth, I know.
The general dating mechanism in modern Western society is completely broken. All the women have become whores. They're all attention whores because they've been broken. Their minds have been broken by social media. And for women, attention is like porn for men. And they just, like, so many men have become porn addicted. A lot of women have become attention.
Well, it would make sense because it would cause the same sort of chemical reaction in your brain. If whatever it is is giving.
I don't say this right. I don't say this to suggest that women are bad people. I think it's just they're not bad people. They're normal people. It's their evolutionary wiring. Women are wired to want attention from men who can provide for them. And men, of course, are wired to want sex from whoever. It doesn't really matter. That's why men are into porn and women are into attention. But if you're an average dude today, those dating apps and those social media platforms have made dating extremely difficult for you. But if your guys have the luxury of patience that women don't. Women, by the time they're 30, 90% of their eggs are gone. Men can afford to be patient. My lovely wife that I'm married to now, I met her when I was 40 and she was 25. And now we have 2 lovely kids. We've had a almost 20-year-long marriage now. I had the luxury of waiting till 40 to have a happy marriage. But very few women have the luxury of waiting till 40 and getting married and having 2 kids. That's not good math, given human biology. But if men can be patient, I know your 20s and your 30s are gonna kind of suck. Sorry, that's what the world is these days. But if you hang in there, you go to the gym, you work hard, you make money. So by the time you're in your 30s and 40s, you have resources, you got nothing to worry about, my friend. You'll be fine. You got to be patient.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you'll have avoided the terrible first marriage I had, which is pretty huge.
Fair enough. And now, look, I'm going to finish on this one, guys, just purely because I saw this earlier and I thought this was like, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this. This is a prank some guys played. They go into a game shop and they're basically trying to trade in fake games. One of them is Bestiality Lover 3. One of them is like, the point is, it's the guy's reaction that I was more interested in, because the guy takes a look at it, but then instead of returning it to the guy, he takes it and then he throws it in the trash. Now, at that point, as far as I'm concerned, it's still the other guy's property. So but anyway, apparently it gets funnier.
The other guy's committing fraud. Is that what he's doing? He's lying.
Yeah, basically.
No, throw it in the garbage. Sorry. Yeah, it's your property. Get it out of the garbage can.
Yeah, I just want to see if I can get anything for him.
Like Jungle Crack Simulator?
I beat the whole game already.
Yeah.
How much do you guys give me for that one, though?
I'm just gonna pitch this, man.
Oh, what?
Yeah, no, that's fraud.
That was my game, dude.
Sorry. You're committing fraud. It's all done.
Are you for real right now?
Are you serious right now, bro?
That's me, man. It's not cool.
Bro.
I missed that the first time around. They photoshopped the guy onto the front cover.
Each of them is pretending that they're ready to throw fists right here. And neither of them are. Neither of them are. But they're pretending. The guy behind the desk and the fake customer, they're both pretending like, oh yeah, I'm going to throw fists right now. No, they're not. I hope not. It's going to be really awkward if they do.
Oh, that is you. What?
That's not cool, dude.
Can I have my case back?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, dude.
No.
Why would you bother taking the case, though? If he's gone to that much effort to Photoshop you onto the front of it, do you honestly think he's not just able to print another copy of it? Like, he did not handle that well.
It's a matter.
It's a principle. Yeah.
I just had a few games on to see what they're worth.
Oh, it is. It's the clerk. They actually put the clerk's photo on the game. I didn't notice that at first.
Yeah, neither did I. It only just occurred to me that they did that with the first guy. I knew about the second one, but I didn't realize with the first one. And then he's sitting there going, No, that's me on the front of crack recovery addict or whatever it was. So
All you need is for one clerk to be having a bad day, and he's choking you to death on the other side of that counter. I would definitely not recommend doing any of this.
I think that's just the guy that's on the cover.
Bro, that's straight up me. I'm wearing the same shirt and everything.
Okay, that's a little weird.
That guy's
You
about
just
to rip your
vandalized
head
my
off.
game, dude.
Dude, that's me
Yeah.
on the cover.
So you can't give me anything?
It's not a game.
Are you the bestiality boy or no?
you don't just come out and ask the guy that. Jesus.
No.
Oh, shoot.
I'm not
Must have
saying
got
it's
mixed up.
right, but if some of these people were getting stabbed, I would understand.
Yeah.
Stab
And look,
with
I can see people in
scissors.
chat saying this is staged or fake or whatever. Look, it may well be, but it's for entertainment value, people. It's funny.
So because that's not even a video game.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Gregcraft?
The worst part is, that's me.
What?
That's me.
Are you Greg?
Greg
Yeah.
does
Look at
need
this.
to lose some weight.
yeah,
I mean, he should be shamed.
Not
a
even
little
like
bit
10
and stuff
bucks?
for that.
No.
I mean,
What if I told you I was just messing with you?
I hope so.
Yeah, it was just a little prank. What do you give it, 1 out of 10?
No.
that's just a cranky guy. Aussie Craft next. No, guys, but what I'm gonna pull us up there because I'll end that there. But as it turns out, there is actually an Australian game that someone has taken the base game of Red Dead Redemption and dropped the characters in the middle of the Australian outback. So there's kangaroos, there's giant koalas, there's all that sort of stuff. I am going to go do a playthrough stream of Australia at some point, but that'll be coming up at some point later in the holidays. Andrew, I want to say thank you so much for joining. Hugely
thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me. I really appreciate it. I rarely have the opportunity, but it's the holidays and our office hours are a little shorter than usual. But I'm always grateful for the invites, and I hope I haven't damaged your channel or disrupted things too much or gotten you.
There
some
are
kind of
200 people
government
watching.
inquest.
That's easily one of my biggest streams. So no, I'm quite happy that you were here. So no stress with that. Guys, as always, please remember, you are not a piece of shit. You have value and you contribute to society, especially if you hit that like button for me. Check whether or not you're still subscribed because YouTube, as usual, is slicing people off.
Goodbye,
Phrasing.
guys. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Stay safe, please. And don't do anything stupid. And take care. Bye-bye.
Stay healthy, wealthy, wise, peeps. I'll see you later. Shit, where's it gone? Where's it gone? There it is. Peace out, peeps.
This shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.